The story begins with a young woman named Sophia, an ocean researcher. Today, she is out in the Pacific Ocean with her husband and the rest of her research team, studying how the massive amount of garbage floating in the ocean is affecting marine life. During the expedition, one of her teammates informs her that they have picked up a signal. As soon as Sophia hears this, the team prepares to dive underwater. Sophia and Jade stay behind on the research ship while the rest of the team descends into the ocean, and Sophia begins guiding them through the underwater monitors. As Chris swims deeper into the ocean, he comes across the dead calf of a blue whale. The whale had become trapped in a fishing net and died, but what shocks everyone is that half of its body is missing. When they examine it more closely, they notice enormous bite marks on the whale's body, suggesting that it had been attacked by a gigantic predator. At the same time, Sophia discovers that the signal they detected is coming from a tracking device attached to a shark named Lilith, and according to the tracker, the shark is heading directly toward them. Meanwhile, several sharks begin circling around Chris. Seeing this, Sophia immediately warns him to stay alert. Just then, Lilith suddenly swims past Chris. The moment everyone sees her, they are completely stunned. Chris asks Sophia if that is really the same shark they had been tracking. Sophia, unable to believe her eyes, says that it has to be Lilith because the tracker confirms it, but only 3 months ago she was barely 2.5 meters long. When Chris notices the tracking device attached to the shark, they realize it really is Lilith. However, she has now grown to an unbelievable length of nearly 10 meters. After seeing the shark's enormous size, Chris decides they should get out of the water immediately. However, Sophia insists that he collect a sample from Lilith because she desperately wants to know how the shark managed to grow so rapidly in such a short period of time. Chris injects the shark with a sampling device, and although Lilith immediately swims away, they successfully collect the biological sample they needed. Satisfied with the sample, Chris and the rest of the team begin making their way back toward the surface. But just as they are about to reach safety, Lilith suddenly returns at incredible speed and launches a brutal attack. One by one, she kills every member of the team. Horrified by what she sees, Sophia immediately jumps into the water to try and save them. As she dives deeper into the ocean, she discovers Chris's severed arm floating in the water. The horrifying sight terrifies her, and she desperately tries to swim back toward the boat. However, before she can reach the surface, Lilith suddenly appears right in front of her and attacks. Sophia barely manages to avoid the deadly attack, but she becomes entangled in a massive fishing net along with Lilith, and both of them are dragged down into the deep ocean. The immense underwater pressure becomes so intense that blood begins pouring from Sophia's ears. Even then, she refuses to give up. Somehow, she manages to stay calm, cuts herself free from the net, and finally struggles her way back to the surface alive. The story then jumps forward 3 years. In the Seine River in Paris, 2 young boys are searching the riverbed with magnets because they believe they might find something valuable. Suddenly, their magnet becomes unusually heavy. Excited, they quickly pull it out of the water, but the moment they see what is attached to it, they are left speechless. Instead of treasure, they have pulled out a missile from the river. Terrified by the discovery, they immediately call the police. Soon, the police arrive and begin investigating the area. One of the officers, Adil, speaks to the reporters and assures everyone that there is no reason to panic because more than 100 bombs and missiles have already been recovered from this river over the years. A reporter asks Adil how so many explosives ended up in Paris. Adil explains that these are leftover weapons from World War II that drifted into the river long ago. He reassures everyone that there is nothing to worry about because all of these bombs and missiles are no longer functional. The scene then shifts back to Sophia. After the horrifying incident 3 years earlier, she completely gave up researching sharks. Instead, she now spends her time teaching children about marine life and explaining why protecting the oceans is so important. While she is giving a presentation about the importance of marine conservation, one mischievous boy mocks her by saying that her entire team died while doing the very same research, yet she is still standing there teaching others. His cruel words deeply hurt Sophia. Overwhelmed with emotion, she quietly walks out of the classroom and starts heading home. But before she can leave, a young woman named Mika stops her. As Sophia tries to ignore Mika and walk away, Mika suddenly mentions Beacon 7. The moment Sophia hears that name, she stops in her tracks. Beacon 7 was the name of the tracking device she had personally attached to Lilith. Hearing it shocks her. Mika then takes Sophia to the headquarters of her organization, where she and her team conduct research on sharks. There, Mika tells Sophia that she is their role model and that much of their own research has only been possible because of the work Sophia had done in the past. Mika then shows Sophia Lilith's current location on the tracking system. To Sophia's complete surprise, the shark is now inside the Seine River. However, Sophia refuses to believe it because, according to everything she knows, Lilith could never survive in fresh water. Mika explains that climate change may have forced Lilith to adapt and enter the river. She says they have to send the shark back to the ocean before it dies in the fresh water, and she asks Sophia to help with the mission. But Sophia refuses to get involved and returns home. Back at her house, Sophia opens her laptop and begins watching the final recordings from the day Lilith attacked her team. As she watches the horrifying footage, she becomes deeply emotional. But after checking Lilith's latest location again, she is stunned to realize that the tracker confirms it. Lilith really has entered the Seine River, and now the shark has become a serious threat to the people of Paris. Realizing the danger, Sophia decides that she has to capture Lilith. Meanwhile, Mika and Ben track Lilith's signal and enter the Seine River. Mika dives underwater and soon discovers the wreckage of a recently crashed car. When she examines it closely, she notices massive bite marks left by an enormous creature. Up on the surface, Ben spots the police arriving at the scene and immediately begins pulling on Mika's safety rope, signaling her to come back. Instead, Mika disconnects the rope herself. Fearing the police, Ben quickly escapes with the boat. A little later, when Mika finally surfaces, the police catch her and take her into custody for questioning. At the same time, Sophia follows Lilith's signal and arrives at the same location where the police are taking Mika away. Meanwhile, Officer Adil takes his boat to a place called Angers, where his friend Edward is waiting for him. After handing Edward some equipment, Adil heads straight toward the police station. When Sophia reaches the area, she finds no one there. However, Edward's dog keeps barking continuously while staring toward the river. Sophia finds the dog's behavior very strange, as if something terrible has happened there. With no answers, she returns home. The following morning, Adil questions Mika and asks what she was doing at the river. Mika tells him that there is a deadly shark inside the Seine, but Adil refuses to believe her. Meanwhile, Sophia continues tracking Lilith when she suddenly receives a phone call from Adil. After arriving at the location, she learns that Mika was the one who asked Adil to call her. There, Adil shows Sophia Edward's body, which has been found on the riverbank. Half of his body is missing. Adil asks Sophia whether a shark could have done this. After examining the body for a while, Sophia confirms that the attack was indeed carried out by Lilith. The scene then shifts to Adil's office, where he introduces Sophia and Mika to the police chief. Sophia explains that a dangerous shark is swimming through the Seine River. However, just like everyone else, the police chief refuses to believe her. He thinks Edward died after being caught in a boat's propeller blades. He orders Adil to bring solid proof that a shark is actually in the river. Following the chief's orders, Adil forms a search team to confirm the shark's existence. He also takes Sophia with him because she has Lilith's latest location. Together, they head toward the tracking coordinates, while Mika secretly follows them. After reaching the location, Adil sends his diving team into the river while he and Sophia guide them from above. Meanwhile, Mika fears that if the police find the shark, they will kill it in the name of protecting people. To prevent that from happening, she immediately calls her friend Ben and tells him to disconnect Lilith's tracker. Ben warns her that once the tracker is disconnected, reconnecting it later will be almost impossible. Even so, Mika insists, and Ben finally disconnects the tracker. Just as the police divers reach the tracked location, the signal suddenly disappears. Sophia is left confused because she has no idea how the tracker could have stopped transmitting. At that very moment, everyone begins sensing the presence of an enormous creature moving beneath the water. Realizing the danger, Adil immediately orders his team to return to the surface. They manage to climb back onto the boat just moments before Lilith can attack. Everyone aboard is visibly terrified because they are now convinced that something huge is lurking beneath the river. One of the officers tells Adil to check the sonar device. As soon as Adil looks at the sonar display, he is completely stunned. According to the scan, a gigantic shark nearly 20 meters long is swimming through the Seine River. Seeing this, Adil immediately becomes suspicious of Sophia. He believes she deliberately turned off the tracker to mislead the police. Furious, he shoves Sophia away and orders her to leave. After everything that happened, Sophia heads straight to Mika's office. Sophia storms into Mika's office and angrily confronts her for disabling the tracker. Mika immediately fires back, accusing Sophia of wanting to kill the shark. Sophia calmly explains that the shark considers no one its friend. She reminds Mika that she had tried to approach Lilith peacefully 3 years ago, but everyone knows how that ended. Mika argues that the tragedy happened because Sophia never should have gone near the shark in the first place. Hearing that, Sophia becomes frustrated and leaves without another word. Afterward, Mika starts working on a plan to save Lilith. Eventually, she comes up with an idea. She records a video message asking fellow environmental activists to help rescue the shark. She warns them that if they fail to act, the police will kill Lilith. Mika asks everyone willing to help to gather at a specific location and uploads the video to the internet. Meanwhile, Adil tries to convince the police chief that the Seine River must be closed to the public immediately. However, the chief reminds him that the city is only a week away from hosting a major triathlon event. She explains that the mayor will never agree to shut the river down because of the competition. Still, she promises that they will meet with the mayor the following day to discuss the situation. That evening, Adil returns home and begins watching Sophia's old research videos. Through them, he learns about the horrifying incident in which Sophia lost both her husband and her entire research team. After seeing everything she had gone through, he realizes he misjudged her and begins feeling guilty for the way he treated her. The next morning, Adil visits Sophia at the aquarium where she works. He sincerely apologizes for doubting her and asks her to accompany him to an important meeting with the mayor. Sophia accepts, and together they head to the mayor's office. During the meeting, the police chief informs the mayor that a dangerous shark is swimming in the Seine River. However, the mayor refuses to take the threat seriously. She explains that the city's International Triathlon Championship is only a few days away, and reporters from all over the world will be covering the event. Thousands of athletes have already registered to participate, and the competition involves a budget worth billions. Because of that, she makes it clear that she will not cancel the event under any circumstances. Instead, she orders them to remove the shark from the river as quickly as possible. Adil then asks Sophia what her plan is. Sophia explains that they should capture the shark alive, tranquilize it, transport it safely back to the ocean, and release it there. Everyone immediately begins preparing for the operation. Just then, Ben arrives looking extremely frightened. She tells everyone that Mika has completely lost control. Along with a group of environmental activists, Mika is planning to use sonar equipment to guide Lilith back toward the ocean. Ben also reveals that she has reactivated the tracking device, meaning they now know the shark's exact location. According to her, the entire group is gathering there today. The location is the catacombs, Paris's underground sewer system, a network that existed long before the city itself was built. Adil tells Ben to return home and promises that they will come there to help. A short while later, the team arrives at the entrance. Since the tunnels ahead are too narrow for boats, everyone continues on foot through the water. Meanwhile, Mika and the other environmental activists have already reached the location. Mika enters the water carrying the sonar device, convinced that its signals will encourage Lilith to return to the sea. Soon afterward, Adil and his team arrive and order everyone to leave immediately. But Mika refuses and remains in the water. At that moment, Lilith appears. She has grown even larger than before, and the sight of her terrifies everyone. Suddenly, one of Lilith's baby sharks swims toward Mika. Instead of backing away, Mika gently reaches out and touches it. Sophia immediately shouts at her to stop, warning that Lilith will see it as a threat. But Mika ignores the warning. A second later, Lilith dives beneath the water. Realizing the danger, Adil jumps into the river to save Mika. Unfortunately, before he can reach her, Lilith attacks and kills her instantly. Panic spreads through the crowd. People begin running in every direction, desperately trying to escape. Although the police officers manage to rescue several people, many civilians, and even a number of officers, fall victim to the sharks. During the chaos, Ben is also attacked and killed by one of the sharks. Seeing the situation spiral completely out of control, Adil opens fire on the sharks. The gunfire finally forces Lilith to retreat. The surviving victims are rushed to the hospital, where they receive medical treatment. Watching so many innocent people lose their lives leaves Sophia completely devastated. Adil walks over to comfort her, telling her that none of this is her fault because she was only trying to save everyone. Just then, another officer approaches Adil with important news. After hearing it, Adil and Sophia return to the attack site, where they discover the body of a baby shark that had been killed during Adil's gunfire. They transport the dead baby shark to the laboratory, where Sophia begins examining it. During her research, she makes an astonishing discovery. The shark has biologically adapted itself to survive in fresh water. But the biggest shock comes when Sophia cuts open the shark's stomach. Inside, she discovers numerous baby sharks. The sight leaves her completely stunned because Sophia soon discovers that the baby shark is only 2 months old. During her examination, she makes another shocking discovery. The sharks are reproducing through parthenogenesis, a process that allows them to produce offspring without needing a male partner. Sophia immediately explains everything to Adil. She tells him that Lilith has evolved into an entirely new species of shark that is multiplying at an alarming rate. If they fail to stop her now, these sharks could eventually wipe out humanity. Hearing this terrifying possibility leaves Adil completely speechless. In the next scene, Sophia presents all of her findings to the mayor and the president. She urgently requests that the upcoming event be canceled before it's too late. However, the mayor refuses to listen. Instead, she blames Sophia for the deaths that have already occurred. Furious, Sophia argues back and raises her voice at the mayor, who immediately orders her to leave the meeting. After Sophia is thrown out, the mayor tells Adil that the army will now take over the operation and that he no longer needs to interfere. Despite those orders, Adil and Sophia secretly come up with their own plan. Adil gathers his trusted team and tells them that the only way to save the city is to eliminate every shark hiding beneath Paris. His team agrees to help without hesitation. However, the triathlon event is only a few hours away from starting. Adil's plan is to destroy the catacombs with explosives, believing that all the sharks gathered there will be killed in the blast. To carry out the mission, he divides his officers into two groups. One team will enter the tunnels and plant the bombs, while the second team will remain outside on the boats, ready to evacuate everyone. Once the explosives are activated, they will have only 3 minutes to escape. With everything prepared, the team heads out on the mission. At the same time, the triathlon officially begins, and the army takes charge of security around the event. The mayor arrives to encourage the participants, and at her signal, thousands of swimmers jump into the river. Meanwhile, Adil and his team reach the catacombs, where Lilith has established her breeding ground. Sophia carries a special device designed to keep sharks away from them. However, as they move deeper inside, she notices something strange. Lilith is nowhere to be seen. Ignoring the warning signs, the team successfully plants bombs at 2 different locations. Now they have only 3 minutes left before the explosives detonate. Suddenly, one of the officers is attacked by a shark. Within seconds, several more sharks swarm him and tear him apart. Horrified, the remaining team members immediately gather together. Adil fires a flare to get a better look at what is surrounding them. As the flare lights up the water, everyone is left in complete shock. There are not dozens, but thousands of sharks swimming around them. To make matters even worse, the officer who was killed was carrying the bomb's trigger device. Another officer bravely rushes forward, grabs the trigger, and quickly activates the explosives. However, before he can return to the group, the sharks attack him as well and rip him to pieces. Only seconds remain before the bombs explode. Sophia grabs Adil and desperately drags him toward the exit. Moments later, a massive explosion tears through the catacombs. The blast severely injures Adil, but Sophia somehow manages to get him safely out of the tunnels. After helping Adil onto one of the boats, Sophia heads back toward the explosion site to see if anyone else has survived. But as soon as she reaches the area, Lilith suddenly bursts through the wreckage. Terrified, Sophia realizes that Lilith is furious over the death of her offspring. Consumed by rage, Lilith attacks the rescue team's boat and flips it over. Sophia immediately rushes forward to help, but before she can reach them, Lilith kills the remaining 2 team members. Somehow, Sophia manages to pull Adil onto the overturned boat, and together, they narrowly survive. Lilith then tears through the safety net protecting the triathlon course and charges directly toward the swimmers. One by one, she begins attacking them. Seeing the chaos, all the swimmers stop in confusion because no one understands what is happening. Then Lilith suddenly attacks another swimmer, turning the river red with blood. Panic instantly spreads through the crowd as everyone desperately tries to escape. The army commander quickly arrives at the scene and immediately orders his soldiers to open fire on Lilith. However, Adil desperately tries to stop them. He warns the commander that countless World War II bombs and missiles are still lying at the bottom of the river and that gunfire could trigger them. But the commander ignores his warning and continues shooting at Lilith. The shark escapes, but one of the bullets strikes an old bombshell buried beneath the river. The shell rises to the surface before falling back down, where it explodes. That single explosion sets off a devastating chain reaction. One after another, the remaining bombs and missiles begin detonating beneath the river. The enormous explosions create a massive tsunami that engulfs everyone nearby. Within moments, floodwaters sweep across the city, and before anyone can react, Paris is completely submerged underwater. Several hours later, Sophia finds Adil in terrible condition. She helps him climb to the rooftop of a building, where he slowly regains consciousness. As they look out across the flooded city, they see thousands of baby sharks swimming through the streets below. Then they spot Lilith herself. At that moment, Sophia and Adel realize the horrifying truth. Lilith had created multiple breeding grounds throughout the city, not just one. Now, the entire city of Paris lies underwater, with countless sharks swimming freely through its flooded streets. With that chilling mystery, the story comes to an end. So, that was the complete story of this insane shark thriller. How was your experience watching this movie recap? Did you enjoy the story, or were you expecting a different ending? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read as many of your comments as I can, and if you liked this video, simply type yes in the comments. Let's see how many of you made it to the end. Also, don't forget to hit the like button, and let's aim for 5,000 likes on this video. Share this video with your friends who love action, survival, and creature movies because they definitely shouldn't miss this one. If you're new to the channel, subscribe now and turn on the notification bell because we bring you the most exciting, mind-blowing, and action-packed movie recaps every week. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next movie recap. Until then, goodbye!